Hey, what's up, lightboltjoe here. Today we're going to discuss the 2019 Wonderful World of Disney on ABC production, The Little Mermaid Live. So this was back when they did live productions on ABC, Fox, NBC, CBS. They did live productions in the teens, in the 2010s. They stopped doing them once the pandemic started, and we haven't had them since. So it was a time. It was a time on TV. You had a Broadway show. You casted your modern actors. You threw it on the television for the world to see, and it was a great time. So some of them were good. Some of them were terrible. Some of them were just riddled with technical problems, even though the cast was flawless, i.e., Hairspray. I'm still so upset about that. But the or like Rent, for instance, when they did Rent, like the actor who plays one of the main characters. Who was the main? Who was that? Who was that actor? They broke their foot like the night before the show, so he's doing the entire show in a wheelchair, like but with his leg like propped up. So like all the dance numbers were just him rocking back and forth, and it was so awkward and unfortunate because of course he didn't mean to break his foot the night before, but how do you work in wheelchair choreography the night before the production, which you've worked months on? It was very very challenging. Or like what was the other thing? I liked the Grease that they did with Vanessa Hudgens as Rizzo because that was neat because it was very immersive, going through the hallways, but it was a stage production, so it was neat. It was neat. It was different. This one in particular, Little Mermaid, was very neat, very different. Alui Kalahadro, I can never pronounce her name. I feel terrible. Incredible talent that she is. She is Ariel in this. You have Queen Latifah as Ursula. John Stamos is Chef Louis. You have Shaggy as who? Sebastian. Not Sebastian. Yeah, Sebastian. And it's just you have puppets. There's a flounder puppet. You have other fish puppets. You have other characters. Other mermaid sisters in their wardrobes and things. It's very immersive. But this is a different version of a live production. When other TV stations were doing these live things, it was just the TV version of the TV stage production of the Broadway musical production, if that makes sense. This Disney did a splice. They spliced in the 1989 film with Jodie Benson, announcing it in the beginning. Happy 30th anniversary to The Little Mermaid, because this came out in 2019. The film came out in 2089. 1989, 2089. So it was different, and it's still very different watching it 5 years later. 5 years later. It's just neat because you have parts that are the cartoon, and then a fish flies this way or something, and it's a transition into the live action of the stage of the theater that they're performing at. So it's just different. It's neat. It's fun. You have puppets. You have everybody's in a very eclectic and eccentric costume, beautiful costuming, wonderful wardrobe. Everybody's hooked up with wires, swimming around the theater. It's just so cool. What I also love about this project is that they used this added songs in the show that they didn't have originally in the film. And that's what you do when you put something on Broadway. You adapt it to help flesh out some transition scenes and stuff. So Eric has a very big scene by himself singing a wonderful song from the show. Awesome. Graham Phillips does a great job with that. And then there's a song in the show of like a dream thought that Ariel is singing in her bedroom in Eric's castle. And he's singing the same thing on his balcony before he throws the flute in the water, which we then get spliced then into the cartoon, where then Vanessa, aka Ursula, comes from the sea to wreak havoc. So it's just neat, and that song is a prime example of everything I've been referencing within the past few things of talking about how it's very rare for a musical, a movie or a TV show musical, to have a musical number that is very layered with different vocal points of different songs, two characters singing different songs but perfectly together. And that's a perfect example in this Little Mermaid live show. Ariel and Eric are doing that. He's singing his song, she's singing her song together in a, not a round per se, but it works. The layering works, and it's magic. It's just magic to the ears. This was very well done. I thoroughly enjoy it. It's quick. It's hour 24 minutes, which is actually shorter than the film. And they cut some scenes, obviously, because they are splicing in the Broadway show to it. it's very cool how they did this, and it's very amazing how they did this, because the Broadway show itself is a little longer, but having the splicing of everything worked so well. What I also love about this project is there was no uproar 5 years ago when Louis was cast as Ariel. How dare they cast a native Pacific Islander as the character of Ariel? No one did that, right? Of the nonsense we had with Halle Berry cast as Ariel, the uproar over the white conservative weird people freaking out that a brown skinned individual can't play a mermaid. You've never watched the show on Broadway. You've never watched the TV show, obviously. No idea what we're talking about. There was never an uproar about Louis being cast as Ariel back in 2019. There was never an uproar about Queen Latifah being cast as Ursula back in 2019. This white, weird, conservative uproar of weird people has been a thing ever since the 2016 election, and it's just unfortunate. I'm excited to see when it'll stop, but it's weird. It's weird, and I don't have any other word for it. It's weird. You're weird. If you're complaining about the skin color of a mermaid, you're weird. This uproar did not happen 5 years ago when this production was made. Why is it the thing now? These people are weird. Aside from that weird thing, this was an awesome show. Awesome production, very well done, cast did an incredible job. On to now the 2023 live action Little Mermaid, starring Halle Berry. Very curious how it's a 2 hour and 15-minute long film when the film itself, the 1989 film, is hour 25 minutes. This one we just watched is an hour 24 minutes. Very curious where that extra hour is coming from. So, we'll see. On to the next review. Mahalo.